Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades, the daily show coming at you from the great states of Sweet Carolinas. Specifically South Carolina. Great to be here visiting this wonderful state, and great to hear from so many of you who actually reside in the state of South Carolina, or even the North Carolina folks there. Absolutely awesome. And today, wherever you are tuning in from around the world, I want to say thank you for watching. And we're going to talk about our altcoins poised to make a comeback as alt season on the table. There's an indicator that could lead Bitcoin to $300,000, plus a whole bunch more. We're going to look at the charts, we're going to look at the yellow brick road, and we're going to look about all the different possible outcomes that I see on the table for Bitcoin and the overall market through December and January, as well as what I think will be the most likely. So hang on to your hats, buckle up, because we're going on a ride. But before we do that, you know what I'm going to say next. If you're a regular watcher of the show, smash that like button. This will help get this content out to more people and does help support the channel. And of course, I do appreciate all the kind words that you do leave in the comment section. You take the time to write it, I take the time to read it, and the questions that get asked there also, I do look to get back to those as soon as I am able to. And the Stocks with Josh Discord, if you want quicker, more immediate access to engage with me in the most wonderful community there with some of the most amazing people. There is links below. You just need to click the more button. That will drop down. And in the description there are a couple of links on how you can get started. I'm in the crypto channel there daily, the meme coin channel also, aka the party zone, as well as my own Crowned Traders channel there, where I share education, insights, resources, some of the trades that I'm taking, as well as entertainment, because I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. Are you not entertained? Of course, down below in the description, I also have my X handle. And for those of you who have already received giveaways, congratulations. I can't get giveaways out to everybody, but I have been looking to get giveaways out daily, and so I do want to continue those through to the new year and even after the new year there. So if you would love there, how am I going to find you? Part of the Tribal Trades community, of course, following me on X. You can be randomly selected there to receive a giveaway. Also, to make sure you're following, subscribe to the YouTube channel there, as well as make sure you got a Sui wallet, because that's how we're going to send these giveaways to you, is via the Sui wallet, via Sui ecosystem tokens there. So make sure there it is there. Crypto Coins 365 is where you would want to go there. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about altcoins comeback is near. Is the altcoin comeback near? Is there some more downside on the table there? Looking at the total two charts, is that if you actually go back to the last cycle, there was a lot of volatility when Bitcoin had its drop in the first week of January, as much as an 18% deviation from high to low in a single day. So I do think people ask me, well, with the January drop, are altcoins going to suffer? Well, historically there has been a little bit, but they rebounded very quickly. Okay, and then we did see alt season come in and last through to around April. Now, that doesn't mean there wasn't some ups and downs along the way, and some dips and peaks and valleys and so forth, but overall the altcoin market did prosper in January 2021 through to April 2021 before there was a large sell-off, and some never recovered after that, by the way. And so you can see, history doesn't always repeat, but it often rhymes. And here is the Bitcoin inverse head and shoulders on the monthly time frame. I did check that out, and there is a little bit of a head and shoulders there with a neckline, and 300,000 would be the target from trader tardigrade there, has it at 300,000. So is Bitcoin, I have my upward targets of 150 to 170,000. This would be almost double that at 300,000. So is that something you think is possible with Bitcoin? And you can just see all of the 60 public companies that now hold Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset there. Okay, so option number one for Bitcoin. Let's start with through to the end of December. And we're just going to consider all these. I'm going to share my most likely scenario. Option number one is just we continue to kind of bleed out from here. We stay under the 50-day moving average, which is sitting at around 95, and we keep rejecting there. And we just slowly bleed out and drop down in that first week of January and go down to around the high to mid 80s area, maybe even as deep as possibly the 100-day simple moving average at around 81, or down to the 200 EMA on the daily at 75. So that's number one, that we don't really see any kind of Christmas rally at all, apart from that 100K. That was an 8K jump from 92 to 100, or 99 to 100K on Christmas Day. And a couple of things, remember, played out. The number one, we had interest rate cut, which should have been bullish, but then the Fed chair came, and it was a bit of a black swan event and completely just wrecked what I feel was shaping out to be a very bullish run into Christmas and into the end of the year. And that was something that nobody foresaw him coming out. It was irresponsible. And really, we do hope that as a result of that, that person is replaced and that somebody a little bit more responsible comes in, because that did really, really wreck the altcoins and really drop Bitcoin down hard. So I think that was something that wasn't on the cards, that wasn't on the table, but has taken place. So we just have to go with that. Secondly, we've obviously seen companies or corporations, businesses that want to show a good positive balance sheet for the end of the year for their investors. So taking profits is normal. And some people needed to take profits just to pay for Christmas or vacations or other things. And we see that normal profit taking there. And then we have Bed Powell, who came out with those irresponsible comments there. And as well, I think some people started to front run. They know that in the last 2-3 cycles, that January drop is 30%, and it's been a significant drop. And then of course you have those people that are going to look to rotate from Bitcoin into altcoins, because altcoin season historically is around the corner. So it just kind of makes sense that these kind of things happen. I just think they were a lot deeper and a lot worse thanks to what Powell came out with there. But I do think that it has been front run. So maybe we don't get that push up, and maybe we just continue to stay under the 50-day moving average, sitting at around 95,800, and just bleed out and then have that January drop down to one of those levels. And we'll talk about that in a moment. The second scenario for December is that we do break back above the 50-day moving average, but we just can't get above this 100K, and then we kind of capitulate down from there. So we do have a little bit of a further push into the end of the year to finish the year green, because to finish the year green, we're going to have to close. Let's have a look here. November close there was 96,407. So to get above that close and the finish green, we would need to get above that. So possibly we get above there, get that green close before we drop down. Now, some people are saying that if December goes red, that's the end of the bull market. I don't agree with that. I think the January drop is going to happen anyway, whether December is green or red. Remember, September was green, and that hasn't always been the case. And so to me, having green September, October, November, and a red December wouldn't necessarily mean that the 4-year cycle is broken. We've had things, Bitcoin made its all-time high before the halving, which hasn't happened before. So a red December isn't going to scare me. I would think it would be more positive, though, that we did follow and have that green December. So that's the number that we're looking for, first of all, to see whether that plays out. So and the last scenario, of course, I think now is the least likely, that we bust above. And it's still a scenario that could take place, that we bust above and shoot up to this 103 to 108K level. You can see we played around that area there. There's that $104,000 level up to about 108,000. We come up here and shoot up there through the end of the year before breaking down. And I do think that is the third scenario. So the first scenario obviously is just a continual bleed out down. The second scenario is that we bang around here, finish green before dropping down. And then obviously the third scenario is that we kind of push up. I think right now my most likely scenario is that we do finish, but we don't close, we close somewhere under this 97,900 level, and we're not able to break. So a slightly green month, that would be followed by my second scenario, which would just be a continual bleed out below the 50-day moving average there. And then the least likely scenario, I think, is that we is that we go up and we push up to here now. So yeah, it has been a disappointing Christmas rally so far, and that we can blame the Fed power for that, just doing a lot of damage to the market, not just in crypto, but also in stocks. Let's talk about January. And so January, the downsides that I see is the most likely scenario to the downside is going to be around, this is the mining cost of Bitcoin sitting around this level here, around 87K, or was last time I checked. And so this would be my immediate place that we may come down to here at this Fibonacci 88,327 or 87, but we may wick down, but I would want to see a close above that and hold that level. And really, if we just continue to see a bleed out here, that wouldn't mean much more downside. Now, of course, we could come all the way down to 81,000, which is where the 100 simple moving average is there. But again, would we close under that? And then obviously the more severe scenario is all the way back to the 200 EMA on the daily. Currently it's sitting at 75K. Now, all of those levels, I would not think that the Bitcoin bull run is over. Remember, historically, Bitcoin has never gone below the low of an election week, which is sitting at about 66,000 and change, 66,000, around 800, I think. And so if we were to go below that level, and historically it really doesn't go below, very much below it usually hadn't gone below its previous cycle all time up to 69. So it would be unusual for it to go down into that territory there. And so these are the levels. I'm just playing it level to level. The first level down, obviously we have this 90K area. And look, it's totally possible that that ends up being the bottom and we don't have as deep a correction as we've had before. And the measured move from that, if we take the 108 level down there, is, it's a decent drop of over 16% there. If we were to come down, if we were to come all the way down to 90K, then we're looking at almost 17%. So that's pretty close. Remember, the usual correction for this cycle has been 20% or 20% plus, never 30%, which is why I'm putting 75K at the last, part of there, as that would be a pretty deep correction. Just coming down to that 20% level would bring us down to that 86,000. So that really is my most logical place that I would start to put it, is down there. You can see there is a lot of activity there. There is some support there, not a ton, but there is some support there. There is a Lux Algo order block down there as well, and there's some Fibonacci's just above. So this would be the area somewhere between 83 and 88. That's where I could potentially see Bitcoin coming to, maybe a wick down to really scare the pants off some people, down to 81K. And I still do think the January drop is coming. And the reasons for that, very simple. We have still those that didn't take the profits in December, want to take it for the following tax year and defer the taxes. We also have those that the first buyers of the ETF are going to avoid capital gains tax by selling their Bitcoin in January or February time there. But there were a lot of buyers that came in very excited, and they got Bitcoin a lot lower than what it is now for the January sell-off there. So there is some narratives there that I do feel come into play for a drop down. And I think psychologically, people saying, well, there's been a drop every other January after the halving year, and so that's the expectation. So people are going to sell, and that I think that's what's happened here, is that people have sold in preparation of that to get ahead of the impending drop, and they just want to get ahead of it. And those that sold at 108 or de-risk or sold a portion, are probably feeling pretty happy, and maybe some of them started to dollar cost average back at these levels, although we have lost the 50-day moving average on the daily time frame. Let's have a look at the liquidation levels here. Let's look at the liquidation heat map. First of all, on the 12-hour time frame, again, we're just trading in the middle between this 93,000 and 95,000, just sideways there. It's like they've gone on holiday, having a break. Again, 95 and 93,000 to above and below. And then, of course, we do start same thing, 93 and 95 on the 40-hour time frame. We do start to see some up there at 97. Very interesting, 97, where we could possibly come up and close to give us a slightly green September there, which is my most preferred option that I see there. Then 95 and 93 again on the 3-day. We'll jump to the weekly. And we are starting to see a lot of yellow up ahead at 100K, but also some down below there at 92 thousand and 91,000 there on the weekly, and then we'll jump to the 3-month chart there and really zoom out. And you do see, I don't always just trade on that, but you do see a lot of liquidity below at these levels below, down at 90 and 80 and the 75s, etc. Remember, at some point liquidity does get left behind. It doesn't get tagged till much later. So I would expect this liquidity at 90,000 to get picked up, and the liquidity maybe down to this. You can see down there 81,000. There's 133 million down there, even 79. There's a fair little bit there. So I am looking for the 80s to 90s region, and I'm picking kind of in the middle, the 83 to 88K region as possible downside. Of course, we may see something a little bit different. We may not see it go that deep. We may, and it may be that people sold their Bitcoin up here and they're waiting for it down in these areas, down to that, even down to 75 or possibly 81, 85, and it just doesn't go there. And we only go as deep as that 90K region there, or just a little bit lower there, down to 89, 88K. And so that's why I like dollar cost averaging, building positions, picking up at the different prices on the way down, because as I've said before, those who try and pick bottoms get smelly fingers. I know that's a gross analogy, but many of you remember that and know that, and hopefully can learn from that, okay? And so as far as altcoins go, how do I feel, just quickly wrapping up this video for altcoins moving forward, is I do feel we are going to see altcoin season still happen in January. But remember, looking back on total 2, and total 2 right now is below the 50-day moving average. I would going to guess that total 3 is just above it. Remove Ethereum and it's more bullish, and the others is just above it as well. And so it has been trading just above or below. So I'm thinking that on any kind of Bitcoin drop down, that we could see the altcoin market come down to the 200 EMA on the daily and a little bit of a flash drop. But just remember that historically, last time we saw the Bitcoin drop that first week of January, altcoins also dropped initially, but there was an 18% swing, vroom, vroom. And so you could see it happen fairly quickly. So I'm going to have buy orders in place for the alts that I'm looking to accumulate in case there's a quick wick down and then up. You don't want to be that person, oh, I was away from my computer and I missed it. I just think having those buy orders in place and being ready and being prepared is always, going to be a situation where you don't have to worry about being right near there or being attentive to it. Just have those buy orders ready, have those set up for those altcoins there. And of course, we do always have to consider the least likely of the alternatives, that the bull market is over and this will just continue to go down there. And if that, I do feel that that is the case, then it can be good to just exit out of a lot of positions, even at a small loss, to avoid a bigger loss if we continue to capitulate there, okay? So that will finish it for today. So just in summary there, as far as Bitcoin goes, I outlaid the options. My most favorite option is the one where we do see a slight pull and rejection up at that 97, 98K level, and then a close just above the 96K, and then a little bit of a capitulation down there to that mid to high 80s area. And then altcoins will also have a bit of a capitulation in January. We could see a swing. We saw last time a swing of around 18% from high to low in a single day with altcoins. And there was a lot of volatility in January, by the way. You can go back and look at total 2 in January of 2021. A lot of volatility, wicks to the upside, wicks to the downside there. And so, but eventually, as we moved and got through to nearer to the end of January, early February, alts began to really, really move. And so I do see that playing out as usual. I'd be very surprised if we didn't see some upside come and Bitcoin dominance begin to break down, because that's historically what has happened also as well. And certainly want to keep an eye on the Bitcoin dominance there as we look. Again, we are under the 50-day moving average, so that is a good sign. And so we do want to come down and go below the 200 EMA on the daily, lose that, and really see a capitulation earlier and the middle part of December. So keep an eye on the Bitcoin dominance, keep an eye on total 2, 3, and the others charts, as well as the Bitcoin charts there as well. And this will be my only show for today. So until the next episode, which will be tomorrow, happy trading.